Hello, it's Don. All right, we've been slack. Time to do some more work. We've got us a project. And if you look down here, we got us a pile of steel. And there's the giveaway right there. We got a heavy-duty axle. So you got it. We're building a trailer. We're going to build a 6x14 heavy-duty. It's going to be a single axle, 6,000-pound single axle. Won't carry 6,000 pounds. Trailer will weigh 1,000 when I'm done. But it's going to be nice. We're going to build our own West Coast gate on it as we've coined it in the past. Got it all drawn up here in the book. This was my items list, more than you can imagine. And of course, here's the trailer. We're going to have to put a little higher sides. I think we're going with a 4-inch drop axle. And you know, most of your utility trailers, they have 12-inch sides. And the reason for that is because with the straight axle, the 12-inch sides put you to perfect height for the fender. Well, with the 4-inch drop axle, now we got a figure for that. So we'd have to build 16-inch sides. And I'm going with the big axle, so it's a bigger tire. 225/15 will be running on this. So we would have to make the sides, well, 16 inches would give us the 4 more inches for the drop axle. But the bigger tires, we'd have to go 17. But I'm thinking I might alter these plans. I might cut in the fender into the top rail and keep it down to the standard 12 inches. Why? Because I can. I don't know, I get these goofy things in my head. So anyways, we're going to be cutting out some steel. I cut one side out already, 14. I got ready to cut out another one. I got my trusty old bandsaw here. It's been with me for a lot of years. As you can see, she's well used. I didn't have anything holding my metal. The first thing I had to do was build a little sawhorse, 25¼ inches. That's the same height as my deck there. And then I carry this stuff around the mess. Here we go, back into the barn. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and we can finish this tomorrow, I think. But I just got 2 2x4s laid out. I'm going to lay my frame out on there, get it all squared up, weld the corners, then I'll flip it over and I'll build the trailer upside down from there. But we'll take you through the paces. We'll record some of this. Of course, we'll fast forward a lot of the boring stuff. And when this is all said and done, we're going to have a trailer. And then I'll show you the West Coast gate. That's pretty neat. It works real well, and it doesn't draw air like a mesh gate. But we're getting ahead of ourselves right now, so let's mark out some metal. Let's do some sawing. And this makes for some boring video, but we just turn the saw on and go to cutting. And that's why it's boring. It doesn't just slice through that like a laser cutter. But anyway, so we're going to cut all up all our pieces. There's our first 14-foot length. The other 14-foot length is already in the barn. Then we'll cut our end pieces. We're going to be 73 inches inside measurement on this. It's going to work out when it's all said and done. We're going to be 73.5 outside to outside. And just gives us a little bit over 6 foot. And so it matters, but that's what it's going to be. So, hey, we're going to start laying this thing out in a little while after we get it cut up. And we'll be back with you. You don't have to even watch the metal cut. That's pretty boring. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back. Okay, we've got our main frame laid out. This is going to be the front of the trailer. You can see the angles turned up. We're using 2x3, 3/16 angle for the main frame. We're going to use 2x2, 3/16 angle for the top rail and the uprights. Now on the back here, I've got a 2x2 rear piece, and you probably think that's not enough, but this is only the back piece, and you can see here, I've got that notched into place there. You can see the cutouts. So this will actually sit flush into the back on both sides. Now when this trailer is all done, when it gets wooded, this is going to be covered with a piece of 2x3, so it'll come up even to the bottom. We're going to use 5/4 deck board, so it'll still be flush on the bottom, and it will have double thickness on the back for, you know, bringing heavy equipment over the back, whatever. This ain't gonna be nothing that big. That little buggy right there, primarily. 14 feet. I can usually go get some lumber, but we build the frame upright, like you see here. I got everything squared. If you're not sure on that, you measure from far corner to the opposing corner. And in this case, on this trailer, I've got 183 1/4 inches from corner to corner, corner to corner. And then when you weld that, you just tack it tack it all the way around. Double check your measurements, because the weld pulls that metal a little bit when it cools, and you might have to just readjust it a tad. So then what we'll do, we'll weld our 4 corners. We'll get that all true, and then we'll flip it over and we'll weld our cross members into it. We'll weld our spring hangers on the bottom, and we'll weld the tongue into place. After that's done, after we do all that welding onto the bottom, it's actually going to bow that frame. It's going to be bowed like a banana. So we set it up on jack stands on the 2 front corners and 2 rear corners. With the weight of the trailer, that offsets it and makes it back straight again. Then we'll build our top rails into place. We'll place our axle, our springs, all that. Everything will stay true then. And actually, from that point on, we build the whole trailer up on jack stands. And I did it backwards already once. I had to straighten myself out. This is going to be the front when it's all said and done. Because when I'm done, I'm going to take this off the jack stands. I'm going to wheel it straight out the door. And then we'll do our paint and everything else out there. Anyways, I'm going to double check my square one more time, and I'm going to tack these into place. $183 1/4, spot on. If you're going to build a trailer, you can't have enough of these. Measurement just to be sure. We're going to go the opposite way. Okay, that's it. Here we go. Okay, got all 4 corners tacked all the way around. You can go crazy with it. We just tacked in our corners, corner. And the same thing all the way around. So now we're going to check our measurement one more time, if everything stayed true. And we're going to go ahead and burn these corners. Let it cool for a minute, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side. Get the cross members in, the tongue, the spring hangers, all that sort of thing. Looks like 183 1/4. Okay, we stayed true. We're going to go ahead and burn these corners in. Let it cool for a minute, and then we'll flip it over. Okay, that's the front. See, those burned in real nice. Nice true all the way around. And those will get welded on the bottom too. But right here we took right down the top, around and back. On the outside, we 45 these corners. We're going to fill that the whole way, so it's the ultimate strength. It'll be like one piece of metal when it's done. Let's go ahead and weld the back. Okay, That's solid. We're going to go ahead and roll this thing over now. We'll get our cross members in place. Get those tacked in, get the tongue built and in place. And just like that, we're on our way to building a trailer. We got a frame. I'm excited. Got to start somewhere. All right, we'll be back. All right, starting to look more like a trailer frame anyways. I haven't welded those cross members yet, and I'm going to show you where we're at on this. We've re-squared the frame. It stayed true, but we got it flipped over upside down now. And I'm working from the back forward. So we got 1, 2, 3 of them clamped in place. But what I've done here, just so you know, you don't get ahead of yourself, I clamped the middle one first. And the reason I did that is because, like I said, these frames, especially when it's just flipped over, it's a noodle. It's flopping all over the place. All right, so I measured outside to outside at my end. I know that's not changing. I was 73 and a half there. So rather than, work your way forward, yeah, whatever. But first, mark your cross members go. Then I put my middle one. I clamped it in place, and it was actually in 1/4 of an inch. So I'll clamp one end, stretch it back out. Now I'm 73 and a half in the center. So I know everything's going to stay true now. I can go ahead and burn those last 3 end ones, and then I'll work our way to the next 2 in the front. The last one in front doesn't get a cross member. It gets an actual 3-inch beam that the tongue is going to mate into for the strength. That's what's pulling you down the road. So let's go ahead and burn those on. All right, there's the back half. We got those burned in. Had to make a little adjustment to the welder there. I was messing up. So burn these in all the way around. I use a stitch weld on this, so it really burns in good. These are the main frames. These are the cross members. You don't want to worry about how pretty it is on there. You really want to burn them in. I mean, they're good looking welds, but they're burned in. They're burned in hard. I got my amperage turned up. This is 3/16 metal we're using. So we get these cross members. We can take them, pry them, saw off. I got 2 more to go, and then we work on the tongue. We'll probably make the tongue first and fit it all in and fit it to the trailer all at the same time. Get our spring hangers on there where the axle is going to go. Actually, we'll put them on before the tongue because they will be absolutely square with the trailer, and then you got to make sure your tongue is squared with the axle. You don't want this thing crab walking on you. All right, that's just one more phase. We're going after it. We're building a trailer. Okay, we're moving right along. We've got all our cross members in place except the very front one here. And this is where the tongue meets into the second cross member, so we haven't installed that one yet. And I'm debating on doing something different. I'm debating on putting a wrap tongue on the front of it, so I haven't got to that point yet. But we're at the point where we need to put our spring hangers on. And you got to have them toward the rear of the trailer. You got to always have positive tongue weight. So as it would be, this is the very center of the trailer here, and so I'm going to put the front spring hanger. A lot of people will put that right on the middle. I move it back just even a little bit more. You can always adjust your load a little bit, but tongue weight is important, otherwise the trailer will fishtail on the road on you at high speeds. You don't want that to go. But something to keep in mind here, your spring hangers, I'm using springs with shackles in the rear, so your front one is wider than your rear one, because don't forget your back one's got the shackles on it. So what's important, a lot of people weld these on, they put it the same spot both sides, all of a sudden everything's cattywampus. It doesn't work out anymore. So what I've done, I've marked where my spring goes with a Sharpie, front and back, but you can see I've marked a center line through there and a center line on the back one. So regardless of what you do, you see the holes in the center of your shackles, that's going to go right in the center line there. Now I know my left and right is going to be the same to the center. So when I get my springs on there, everything will be matched up and nothing will be in a bind. That's something I've seen get overlooked a lot throughout the years. So I've already got that side in place. These side I'll clamp those down. We'll get those welded up And then next we're going to tackle the tongue. I'm going to show you how we go about that. I think we're going to go with the wrap tongue. It's just a nice touch. A little more work, but hey, what else we got to do? All right, I'm going to get these welded on there, and then we'll start working on that tongue.